ever sat there and wondered what impact mental health issues have on our brain, society, and day-to-day living? These questions are important because mental health is a more prevalent thing in our society, and we should want to know how they may affect people in the long run. This topic is especially important to me because I've had my own challenges with mental illness, and that has brought me closer to wanting to know how that affects not only me, but people in society. We will dive into the discussions of what exactly mental disorders are and just how common they are. According to the U.S. Department of Human Health Services, 1 in every 5 people struggle with some sort of mental disorder. With that being said, taking a look in this room, there's at least one person out of everyone that has their own experience with mental illness. This goes to show that mental illness is very common, and because more and more people are experiencing it, it makes it greater as to why people in society should have an understanding of it. The next question might be, what exactly is mental illness? In order to have a better understanding of mental illness and how it affects people, it's important to actually know what it is. According to the U.S. Department of Human Health Services, mental disorders are disruptions to a person's mood, thinking, or behavior. With that being said, mental illness is so hard to deal with because it affects your day-to-day, it affects your atmosphere, your energy levels, motivation to do anything, which can in turn affect others. The next idea we will go over is how mental disorders truly affect someone. We discussed a minute ago of what mental illness is, and now we will take a deeper dive in how mental illness affects someone on a day-to-day basis. For instance, according to an organization in California, depression can be linked to having a messy room or messy life because of lack of energy, desire, and just ultimately feeling overwhelmed. Although depression is not the only sign of mental illness people may face in their life, however, common ground between a lot of mental illnesses is that you experience a lack of desire, lack of energy, the feeling of overwhelmingness. That may look like not going to work, not completing a school assignment, skipping important things, and just not being 100% there. Mental disorders affect society because in workplaces with people who may be experiencing any mental disorders, that could affect how well they do their job. It could affect how businesses or schools are run. It could also lead to drastic things like homelessness due to a continuation of lack of motivation in life. According to statistics, unaddressed mental illnesses can have negative impacts on businesses, increase poverty, safety, and multitude of other things. Although these outcomes may be extreme, these are issues that people with mental disorders can and are experiencing, making mental health so important to become knowledgeable about. The final discussion will have to do with how mental disorders affect the brain. According to the U.S. Department of Human Health and Research, many believe that mental illness is because there's an abnormality of how particular brain circuits function. Mental illness is not just something that people just experience one day. It has to do with the chemical imbalance that leads to a person feeling the way that they do. To carry on with the example I gave earlier regarding depression, there's growing evidence that depression causes several parts of the brain to shrink. This is important to note because people at least in every room you may walk into is going through something as detrimental as this. Today we discussed the impacts mental illness has on one's brain. Hopefully you walked away with the points that mental health is common and that it affects one's moods, thinking, and alters chemistry in someone's brain, leading to challenges both mentally but also in society. This speech was designed to inform you on mental illness and effects it has on someone experiencing a mental disorder. I hope this speech brought clarity to the ones who may have not been knowledgeable or even aware of the mental disorders or turned a blind eye to what mental illness truly is, and recognize that it not only affects someone's mental health, it affects their personality, it affects how they are in society and their day-to-day living, and it ultimately affects others around them.